refused permission to appeal a ruling. It breached the rights of organisers of a vigil for Sarah Everard. The force said it was seeking clarification in the law going forward. LBC weather, outbreaks of rain in the north tonight, which will move into the south later, a low of 4 degrees.
This is LBC.
This is the sound of mechanic Terry making tax digital with Sarah.
Continue on M4 for 3 miles.
Invoices sent. VAT sorted. Are you ready for the Making Tax Digital deadline in April? Get 3 months free at sage.com. Renews from £12 a month. Terms and conditions apply.
Selling your car doesn't have to mean haggling with strangers or pretending to be a car connoisseur. Simply sell your car the motorway way. It's the new sell your car from home way. All while car dealers compete to give you the best price way. It's the you could get up to £1,000 more way. This is the new way to sell your car. This is the motorway. Sell your car at motorway.co.uk. For pricing claim verification, visit motorway.co.uk.
MailChimp's customer journey builder has generated on average 4 times more orders for users with a connected store than bulk emails alone, reaching customers with the right message at the right time. And a big part of marketing a small business is nailing that timing. You can get orders for car to van fairs, birthday handles, or even first timers. Sign up today at MailChimp.com.
Say hello to leasing. Say hello to Auto Lease Compare, the car leasing comparison site that lets you compare the best leasing deals on the market from the UK's most trusted leasing providers. Auto Lease Compare will get you into a brand new car for less. You pick the car, we find the deal, inclusive of warranty, road tax, and free delivery. Say hello to leasing. Say hello to Auto Lease Compare. Hold on to your mugs. EE's full fiber is here. New broadband that can handle anything. And whatever you think that means, times it by a zillion and dip it in chocolate. Because this broadband connects 100 devices in your home. Search EE Full Fiber. 18.3% UK availability. Check coverage at ee.co.uk.
Tonight, with Andrew Pierce on LBC.
Well, the Ukrainian President Zelensky has warned of a ramped-up Russian offensive in his country's east. Civilians are now rushing to flee the region ahead of what many fear could be a pretty brutal new phase of the war. Russia has deployed tens of thousands of troops to prepare new attacks, according to Zelensky. This is a day after he vowed his country's troops were ready to respond to the fresh assault Moscow's forces appear poised to launch. Joining me now to talk about this is Dan Saber. He's Defence and Security Editor at The Guardian. Dan, a worrying new twist in the conflict.
Yes, that's right, Andrew. I think it's one that's going to play out certainly slowly over the next couple of weeks, which is that Russia completely overextended itself in the first phase of the war with these, hopeful, poorly coordinated attacks on Kiev and elsewhere in the north and east.
In a quarter of a mile, keep right to stay on M4.
Into the east of the country in the Donbass region, and what it hopes is, or what intelligence officials fear to be the case, that the Russian Navy ought to double, even perhaps treble the forces it's got in the region for a sort of heavy attack against the Ukrainian forces. The question, though, is
Keep right to stay on M4.
really do that, whether the pounding and pummeling it took at the hands of the Ukrainians in the first phase of fighting means that actually Russian capabilities are much more limited. So what we're about to see is a sort of real sort of trial of strength, a bit like a sort of World War I type scenario in the east of the country between the two sides, and we'll see how that shakes down, I'm afraid.
And there are reports, Dan, which you'll know about. Satellite images have caught this sight of this 8-mile-long convoy of Russian military vehicles moving south towards the Donbass area, which could well be that focus of that new offensive.
That's right. That's an example of the kind of the forces that we're seeing moving into the Donbass region, and the digital kills. So this is an area of sort of relatively static front lines, actually, from the previous round of fighting in 2014, 2015. And if you went there prior to the war, you'd see all these kind of World War I style trenches on both sides.
quarter of a mile, keep right to stay on M4.
Sent a dozen Russian-made tanks that the Ukrainians are using, for example. Yes, and over the weekend, Boris Johnson agreed to send 120 rather sort of armoured vehicles, but they're really used to transport troops sort of around the battlefield or from one location to another rather than tanks to be used in the front line. So
Keep right to stay on M4.
to sort of really make a difference to the fight. I guess we're going to see, but I would wonder whether that was the case at this stage.
All right, that's Dan Summer. He's the Defence and Security Editor of The Guardian. Thanks so much for joining us. As I say, that's the site of this 8-mile-long convoy of Russian military vehicles moving south towards the Donbass area. Now, just a picture, an image that cheered me up no end. The Queen revealing in a Zoom conversation with NHS staff at the Royal London Hospital how COVID left her very tired and exhausted after she caught it earlier this year. It was great to see her, and it was great to see her looking so good. Somebody knows all about the Queen and her place in history. Sir Anthony Selden, who's a political commentator, contemporary historian, and he's author of the book The Impossible Office, The History of the British Prime Minister, and he joins me now. Sir Anthony, were you as cheered as I was to see the Queen looking quite so pucker and cheerful?
Yes, she holds a very special place, Andrew, doesn't she, in the lives of so many people. She has been there in the lives as a constant, and so, I mean, I wasn't particularly aware that she wasn't being photographed because of her withdrawal when she was ill, but it was a great pleasure to be reminded of her presence when she came back.
I mean, we are probably going to have to, aren't we, Sir Anthony, get used to seeing more of the Queen in the front room at Windsor Castle on a Zoom screen, because, for instance, we know she's not going to be distributing the Maundy money on Maundy Thursday this week because of these ongoing issues with mobility. But she seems to have mastered the knack of Zoom very, very well, and I don't think we're being too shortchanged.
Yes, I think that's absolutely right. As long as people can see her, I mean, in a way, Andrew, I don't think that any of us will be fully aware of how much she's meant to us in our lives until she is no longer appearing by Zoom or by any other way. But, you know, one thing that COVID showed was that COVID is a pretty good approximation for face-to-face seeing somebody, and she's good on COVID, isn't she? You get a sense of her humanity and who she is in a quiet way. She's a very polished performer.
She often just seems to get the right tone, doesn't she? She gets it again and again when she makes these, when after we've been coming in lockdown.
In 2 miles, at junction 6, take the A355 exit to Slough Central.
It's uncanny, isn't it? She, you could say that she has an extraordinarily high emotional intelligence, that ability to listen and to understand where people are and what they need to hear from her. And here's another thing that I was just thinking about, which is Queen Victoria. When her husband Albert died, she went into many years of withdrawal, and frankly that was very self-regarding and I'm afraid to say ultimately self-indulgent, whereas the Queen very visibly lost her husband, and yet that sense of loyalty to the nation and putting other people first rather than her own grief is there, and that magnetism and her humanity is still there, particularly important, you know, with, I think,